What's going on, guys? The Tricky Trials update is out now, and today I just wanted to go over how to get started and some of the things that you can expect from the new update. First, while this technically isn't part of the new update since we've gotten it in snapshots and re-releases, I wanted to get started with the wolf armor that you can use. The first thing you'll want to do is make a brush with a stick, a piece of copper, and a feather in the crafting table, and then you're going to want to head to a desert and find an armadillo. By left-clicking, you can actually collect scoot from these armadillos, and this is what we're going to use to make our armor. The brushes actually break pretty easily though, so in order to get enough for a few pieces of armor, you are going to need a lot of brushes as well. Once you've gone around and collected enough of the scoot, you can go into the crafting table and set it in this formation to get your wolf armor. After that, you will just have to tame your dog, and left-click with the wolf armor to put it on them. This is going to protect them from falls or mob damage. And speaking of, did you notice that dog looked a little bit different? While this also was technically released in 1.20.5, there are new dog variants in this update as well. This includes the original pale wolf plus 8 new types depending on the biome that you spawn them in. The next thing that I want to go over is actually the pillagers. Usually when you defeat a banner, you're going to have the bad omen effect on you. Now, when you defeat a banner, you're going to get 2 items, the banner and a bad omen potion. Don't use this quite yet because we are going to go over what you can do with it later. But now that you don't have to worry about the bad omen effect, it's a great change. As for some new mobs that you're going to see in the update, we have the Bogged for the first one, which is a kind of poisoned skeleton that you'll find near swamps or in the trial chambers. Pretty much if they shoot you with the arrow, you're going to get the poison effect, though it won't last very long. The other mob that you're going to see is the Breeze mob, which you'll only find in the trial chambers. This is going to be a mob that can throw you up in the air with wind charges, though they really don't do much damage, as you can see here. Of course, everybody's been talking about the mace as well. This is a new item that you can use to actually stop fall damage if you use it correctly. Admittedly, it is pretty hard to time correctly and you'll probably have to work on it a little bit, but if you do it correctly, you can actually deal a ton of damage to the mob that you fall on, keeping in mind that if you miss, you will probably die. Okay, now we're going to get into the main point of the Tricky Trials update, the trial chambers. First, before we get started, I want to note that the first thing you're going to want to try to do is find the decorated pots within the chambers and break them all. And I mean break them all. Every single pot will have something inside to find, whether it's something small like arrows and clay, or something big like emeralds and diamonds. You definitely want to make sure you take your time to find all of these items because it's going to give you things that are going to be super helpful in your journey. While looking for those decorated pots, you might come across something else called a trial spawner. These things are going to spawn one specific type of mob. For example, here I have silverfish. You are going to have to beat all of these mobs, and once you do that, the trial spawner will open up and give you something to collect, whether that be a trial key or another piece of loot. Once you beat that trial spawner, it will go into a cooldown mode and you won't be able to use it again. That being said, there is one way to bypass this. Remember that bad omen potion that you got from the pillagers earlier? If you decide to drink that and walk back up to the trial spawner, you're going to start what's called an ominous trial. This is going to reset the spawner and give you more mobs to fight, with higher health levels, more gear, and better equipment. This is definitely tough, but if you can manage to beat this trial, you're going to be gifted with something else, an ominous key. Now, once you have either of those keys, you're going to want to find vaults that are scattered throughout the trial chambers. Once you find the vaults, you can use either of the keys to unlock them and get loot out of the top. Once one vault is used, you won't be able to use it again until at least 20 more players use it first. Once that 20th player uses the vault, it resets and you'd be able to use it again. Of course, the ominous key, being harder, is going to give you better loot, like diamonds, emeralds, and more. But the original trial key is going to give you great stuff as well. Besides all that, make sure to take time and explore the chambers to see all of the new copper blocks, some hidden rooms, and to see if you can face all of the different trials. Speaking of copper blocks, let's talk about the new ones that we're going to get, like the copper bulb. The original one is going to have an insane light level, and the more exposed the copper is, the lower the light level is going to be. For example, if you use a weathered copper bulb, in comparison to the original, you'll see just how dim the bulb is, with the oxidized copper bulb being the dimmest. You also get introduced to new copper crates, which, if you didn't know, mobs are unable to spawn on this block, so if there's ever a build where you don't want any chance of mobs spawning, make sure to make the copper grate your floor. Now, when making these copper blocks, of course you're going to want to go to the crafting table and make the blocks that way. But what if I told you that's actually not the smartest idea? When you use a crafting table, you're going to get a 1-to-1 ratio, so 4 copper blocks is going to equal 4 of the copper grates, for example. But if you use a stone cutter and put in that copper block, you're actually going to get 4 copper crates to every 1 copper block you put into the cutter, making it much more efficient and much less of a waste of your materials. Next is another new block and a big update for the world of auto farming. This is the Autocrafter, and if you click into it, you'll see settings to enable and disable slots in the UI. This is so you can set up something like a redstone clock connected to the Autocrafter, where you can then put a hopper and a chest full of diamonds, for example, and those diamonds will drop into the hopper, into the Autocrafter, and back out into the chest to create a block of diamonds. As you can see, every time the diamonds drop through, you'll get your block of diamonds, and then it'll reset and more diamonds will start to drop afterwards. This will continue as long as there's diamonds in the chest and as long as the Autocrafter is on. And finally, potion effects. It's been a while since we got the new potion colors in the update, but now those colors translate into the potion effects that you see when you take the bottle. For example, if I take a blue bottle of the potion of swiftness, you'll see blue particles start to surround my character. The cool thing with this is you can also mix potions together. So you can mix a yellow, blue, purple, and green potion and get all of those effects around you. Of course, there is so much more to this update, like new paintings, new banners, more new blocks, and so much more. So if there's something that you want us to cover specifically, make sure to let us know in the comments down below.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more great content like this, then subscribe or click these videos. Until next time, gamers.